What's going on? It's Astronaut H, and this is the What More Do You Want Network. Now, in this video, I will be discussing basically one of the more underachieving, or should I say one of the most disappointing teams to start the NBA season, and that is the Minnesota Timberwolves. Honestly, I am at a crossroads with this team. I thought that adding Rudy Gobert to go with Cat, to go with Anthony Edwards and D'Angelo Russell, that will put them in more prime position to actually be, in the Western Conference upper echelon 3, maybe 4 seed. And to my surprise, maybe no surprise to other people, but this team just doesn't look good at all. Through the first, I believe, 21 games of their season, they are one game below 500 at 10-11. But at times on the floor, I just look at them and I don't see a collective group. Anthony Edwards has already called the team out, calling them soft on several occasions. But when I look at them play, I see, like I said, no chemistry. I look at guys like D'Lo. I looked at the game where D'Angelo Russell was supposed to be in the game and he sat at the scorer's table for the entire possession. That can't happen. I look at plays where Anthony Edwards is coming off a pick and roll with Rudy Gobert, and Rudy Gobert cuts to the basket and is wide open, and he doesn't give this man the basketball. I look at Karl Anthony Towns, who's been an all-star on multiple occasions, and at times he goes missing during the basketball game. Now, I'm not going to kick a man when he's down. I hope Karl Anthony Towns' injury isn't as bad as, first perceived last night. But when I ultimately look at this team, I don't see a team that I had before the season started actually being there with the Phoenix and, some of those upper echelon teams in the West. I really thought that adding a more structured big like Gobert would help take, the brunt of the defensive responsibilities away from Karl Anthony Towns, but that hasn't been the case at all. It just seems like Gobert looks lost at times, especially on the offensive end. These guys don't want to give him the basketball. And that's a problem when you have a 7-footer who's basically nightly. He could have offensively, he could have a mismatch. But again, Gobert isn't the most polished offensive player. But you add him into the fold and you give up so much to get him. You have to somehow, some way put him into what you want to do as a team. I don't know if it's a coaching thing. I don't know if it's a personnel thing, but guys are not gelling well together for Minnesota at all. Guys could be, I feel like in games where they lose, it's just they lose bad. Like in their previous matchup, they played Washington, and Kristaps Porzingis had a night, right? That can happen against anyone. Anyone can go off. Anyone can have a career shooting performance. That can happen versus anybody. But when you're basically getting blown out of your building, so to speak, you're getting blown out the building and guys are looking around for answers. That's a coaching thing. That's a personnel thing. Like I said, you gave up basically your future for Rudy Gobert. You gave up guys that can actually score for Rudy Gobert. And now with your team being one game below, they're only one game below 500. But again, like I said, this is more about them being one of the most disappointing stories to start the NBA season. I feel like, can they, turn it around? Of course, they have the talent. But if Cat is gone for an extended period of time, then what? Because they just don't have the level of scorers to fill that gap that he, provides. I love Anthony Edwards. I think he's having a great season. I think he's averaging somewhere over 20 points a game. I think D'Lo could be doing a whole lot more offensively. I don't know if it's a situation where he waits to get into the flow of the game, but I feel like he could be doing a whole lot more offensively. Cat, like I talked about his injury, but when you have three players that I feel like, should be taking this team to the next level at this stage of their careers. Towns been in the league for a while. D'Angelo Russell been in the league for a while. This is Anthony Edwards. This is his coming of age now, So you add a Gobert to that. And it's like you give up so much. You have to figure it out. You have to figure it out as a team, as a franchise, because if not, then what was all that for? What was all that for to go and get Gobert? It's like you do that. That means you're trying to win right now. That's what that means. That's what that trade meant for them. And you see the influx of talent that they gave away, right? And you see what's happening on the team that they ended up giving all those players to. Utah is in a better position than Minnesota because of that trade. And everybody thought it was going to be the other way around. So, like I said, Minnesota has been one of the more disappointing teams to start this NBA season. I know it's early, it's only late November, and I shouldn't be saying how disappointing they have been, but I'm going to say it anyway because I feel as though they could be so much better. They have the talent, and in my opinion, that's all the NBA is. That's all the NBA is. It's who has the most talent on the floor on that particular night, and how can we dominate versus you. That's basically how the Minnesota Timberwolves should look at every game. We have the talent. We have the athleticism at positions, and we should be able to put our will on you before you put your will on us. And the funny thing is, because you can't treat the NBA like a video game. You can't treat it like a game of 2K, right? Sometimes you would think, okay, we'll add this guy, and this will be it to take us where we need to go. And and like I said, that's just not the case here with Minnesota. I feel like there's some holes, especially on the bench. I feel like there's something awry with the starters. I don't know if it's the combination of Gobert, and I feel like Gobert should be getting way more paint touches. I'm always rooting for the big man in the NBA because, for so many years they were trying to dismantle bigs and put the bigs at the top of the paint and top of the perimeter and the corner and things like that, and erase the bigs from being in the league. And I feel like Gobert could really help them in that position. Like I said, he's not the most offensively sound. I think Cat should, after they figure out what's going on with his injury. But yeah, I just want to see, honestly, I want to see the Minnesota Timberwolves thrive because I feel like their fan base is due for a team to, actually be able to compete and go, further in the playoffs. So we'll see. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you can know anytime a video is being uploaded to this channel. I always appreciate you guys tuning in, listening, and watching. It's Astronaut H. This is the What More Do You Want Network, and I'll catch you guys on the next video.